100% right, every time. The McClaskey Excellence Institute brings you The Operations Experts, a podcast with hosts David McClaskey and Billy Schaefer. Delight your customers, reduce errors, and increase repeat business. Take your operations from ordinary to extraordinary. Welcome to the first episode of our Operations Experts podcast. I'm one of your hosts, David McClaskey, the founder and president of McClaskey Excellence Institute.
I'm your other host, Billy Schaefer, vice president of the McClaskey Excellence Institute. We found that we really wanted to launch this podcast because I tell you, our favorite thing in the world is helping people. And what better way to help more people is to talk to different people in the industry. And we wanted to start this podcast so we can continue that journey of just helping more and more and more people. It's such a great goal of why not want people to be better? I mean, David, what do you think? What do you want to get out of doing this podcast?
Well, what we want the people listening to the podcast to get is that we've had such a great time. For 25 years, we've been teaching thousands of companies how to create operation excellence in their business. And we have one of the best processes and lots of good use. And we'd like more people to use it and more people to get engaged in the discussions about how critical operations excellence is for their business. And so with the podcast, we can enlarge the conversation. Not only can we listen to more people, and hopefully besides the people in the class, in the McClaskey Excellence Achieving World-Class Results class, but also we're going to be having some of the best operations experts here talk about, here's what we're doing to be experts in operation in our business, so that we're going to be able to share a lot of information, and this enables us to help even more people.
Can't wait. I know we're going to have some great guests and some great leaders come into this, so I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. And Dave, you said we've been doing this for 25 years. Now, I was a student for many years, but I've joined as a teacher now for the past couple of years. So tell me about the beginning. What was it like? How did this start 25 years ago?
I'm so glad you asked that question, and it's such a joy because it is just so thrilling helping people get their businesses to be excellent in their operations. But it started as that I've been consulting for over 50 years, and I've consulted with some of the best companies in the country, people that are nationally designated role models. And when you get to work with them in depth, you see they can operate their businesses at a totally different level than almost everybody else is doing. And because I worked with them in depth, I could understand their systems and how they did it. And so when you see something that's special and that useful to other people, wanted to share it with others. And so in 2000, Tom Crosby, the CEO of PALS Sudden Service, and myself, we started what we first named as PALS Business Excellence Institute, and then we rebranded it to McClaskey Excellence Institute, so we could help companies become extraordinary with operations using proven practices from role model companies. And so that's why we got started, and we've been doing this ever since. And this podcast is the next extension to let's help people be great at operations in their business.
Now, I didn't meet you till about 10 years into your journey here. I think it was 2010. And I know I tell this story, I think it changes anywhere from 2009 to 2012, depending on how the story's going. But I remember I went up to your class and I was so amazed because I was, in my mind, I was an excellent operator. I was one of the best. But I quickly learned that there was a whole nother way. But I remember taking the 2-day course up there at Kingsport at the PALS Business Excellence Institute. And what I loved about more than anything is I was like, wow, this is actually all the things I believe in, but it was systematic. And it wasn't just my brain doing random things. It was like you actually put a systematic approach on how I feel about things. And it became so cool. And it changed the way that I operated. And I walked into those doors an amazing operator, and I left not so good because I had a lot to work on. But I got better, which is absolutely great. It was one of my favorite things. What's one of your favorite success stories of that time that you've done?
Oh, well, it's been so great seeing companies improve their business and get better. And let me tell you about one that mostly I learned from, PALS Sudden Service. It's probably one of the best operated businesses. It's a drive-through only quick service restaurant, and they operate at a phenomenal level. And it was so wonderful learning how do they operate at a phenomenal level with the same resources that most everybody else in the quick service restaurant gives sort of mediocre operations. And so it was so great to see, wow, look at this setup among dozens of stores. And so store after store, everyone's great. Every time period's great. And to be able to see that, to be able, and I'll tell you an experience, one thing that was just delightful besides is that while I actually got to work for them for 6 weeks, as well as learn their systems and teach it to others and this type of thing. But I was watching, one of their processes is taking orders. And I was sitting there watching the order taker take orders, and, at 7 a.m, most people are sleepy. They would come up to the drive-through. They would place their order. The person would be energetic and make them feel welcome. And when they left, just 12 seconds later, they were smiling and happy and had their breakfast ordered, that it was going to be a fantastic breakfast. But I'm going, you get breakfast in a smile. Every customer, every time. And you go, isn't that what businesses should be creating? And our passion is to try to get as many businesses to come up to that standard so they can delight every one of their customers every time, and then they come back more often.
David, was that one of the groups that you helped win the Malcolm Baldrige Award?
Yes, it's there's only been 2. I've helped 7 companies win 8 Baldrige Awards, including the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company twice. But there's only been 2 restaurants. So just to back up just a little bit, the United States, the nation, has a national award. This is actually approved by Congress. It's actually given in the name of the President of the United States. So this is a national award. It's called the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award. And its first was given out in 1988. They asked me to teach the initial group of examiners, so I got involved right at the very beginning, and then helping companies use it. And basically the whole idea is to have a great thorough process to designate role model companies, and so other people can learn from them. And so in the 36 years this awards exist, there's only been about 130 companies that have won. It's a very tough criteria, and only 2 of those have been restaurants. And the first restaurant that ever won it, and there's only been 2 to date, is Pal Sudden Service. So I was the Baldrige consultant for both restaurants that won the Baldrige Award. And what you get by working with role model companies is you see the very best processes there are, and you see how they do it. And it is just such a joy to sit there and watch excellence, customer after customer. And so absolutely, they were one of the Baldrige winning companies that I had the pleasure of being their consultant.
David, that means if there was 130 and you got 7 of them, you're a little bit over 5% of the companies you took them there. That's incredible.
Yeah. And mostly I just help companies actually, that's what it is. If they want to be role models, then I can help them get there. And so the companies that are already extraordinary and excellent and just want to take that next step, well, that's a great journey to take. But mostly what we're doing is helping companies that are already good become great. And we're helping hundreds of companies do that.
I'll tell you, one of my favorite ones that I'm currently working with is Just Right Lawns out of Texas. They're in Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas, and they're already good. This is a cool company. They mow about 5,000 lawns a week. That's a couple lawns. And it started out as 2 brothers that just wanted to make some extra, and we'll call it lemonade money, for when they were growing up. And now they've turned it into this huge multi-million-dollar lawn care company. And I got to work with them on some of their processes. My favorite thing that we got to do was their sales conversion rate. We put a process on how to answer the phone, how to engage with the customer, how to sell them. And they went from a 19% conversion rate to a 35% conversion rate. 16 more out of every 100.
Oh, wow.
People.
That's fantastic.
It was wonderful. Almost close to doubling. And I bet you here in another month, we're going to be above doubling, because they're starting to operate at that super high level. But all we did was put these basic processes, the processes that we teach in our Achieving World-Class Results course. And when they apply it, the results are there. And that's one of the coolest things about what we do is we're very results driven. This is not a hype session of you're going to feel great, you're going to be really excited. No, we're very tactical. Hey, you do A, B, and C, and good things happen. And the Just Right Lawns is one of my favorite things that we've gotten to do with them. Gosh, it's always cool to see these great results. And I know you've experienced the same with the companies that you've worked with over the past 50 years.
Yeah, and Billy, I know you've helped, as the director of operations, you've helped companies become extraordinary. You're a master implementer of operations excellence, plus you're a master certified instructor of the McClaskey Excellence Institute. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience related to helping companies become extraordinary, particularly being part of that management team that made that happen?
I always attribute it back to a boat. And I don't know if everybody's been on vacation where you have the bright idea that we're going to get in a rowboat. And I can tell you, it's probably caused more fights with families and loved ones, because you always have that one family member that's rowing in the opposite direction as everybody else. And all that does is cause you to spin in circles. Now, the reason I use that metaphor, and not really a metaphor, it's happened to me, is because you got to get everybody going in the same direction in your company. And if not everybody is rowing in the same direction, then you're going to spin in circles and you're not getting anything done. So what I learned, and what you helped me realize in this implementation, is the mission. Your mission is how you row the boat. And if everybody believes in the mission and everybody knows the mission, they can recite the mission, not only recite it, like they have it memorized, they understand it, and they can apply it when they're decision-making tree. Oh my gosh, now you have everybody making the same decisions. They're all believing in the same way. And now that boat is going forward, and you don't have that crazy cousin in the back that's just wanting to spin in circles. And what I realized, if you don't take that step first, nothing else matters. You could have the best processes in the world. You could have everything perfectly designed. But if you don't have everybody believing in where you're going, that North Star, that having that compass, that guide, it doesn't do anything. You got to have the mission. Without that, it gets really, really tough, really, really quick. So that's the first thing we do.
And so as you're helping companies take this journey from ordinary, which is we're okay with getting most of our products right, to extraordinary, and we're going to deliver our products and services 100% to the brand requirements 100% of the time. So one of the places you start is to get everybody aligned to a functional mission.
Yeah, definitely. And what we teach, and this is a big part of our courses, you got to tie everything back to that mission. Everything you do is the mission. Everything, no matter what. It could be picking a piece of paper off the floor. It could have been the way you walk in the building, the way you say hi to somebody. There is a way to tie that back to the mission. So every training, every action, every decision, everything you do, and when you tie it back to that mission, this is that word that I always love, that I hear a lot of people talk about, where they're like, we have a great culture. It's like, okay, tell me your mission statement. And a lot of times they're like, oh, we don't have one. Well, then you don't have a culture, because that's how you guide everything. So if you want a great culture, you got to start with the mission statement. It's so important to what we're doing here. So that mission statement and getting it to every single person is the most important thing. And I always say that, we always have those moments of, if I would have known that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, my entire career would have been different. If I would have known, I really wish that's the one thing that I wish I would have known sooner, is if I would have known that when I was 18 years old, like, hey, this is the mission, get everybody to focus, and all these different things that I've been a part of, whether it's basketball teams or music groups or all these different things that I did in my career, if I would have realized that just having a mission would get us all focused and make us thousands of times better, I wish someone would have taught me. This is something that we need to do in schools. In fact, after we're done with this podcast today, I'm going to start calling schools, because they need to put mission statements as part of their curriculum. And I just wish I would have known that sooner. So I'm going to hold the schools accountable to do that. Well, David, you know how I feel about the mission, and I wish I would have known. What's that one thing you wish you would have known sooner in your career that would have, through all this information, that would have changed it?
I think that one of the key things is that I thought that the way you improve things is you went to the process and you found out ways to improve it. And that makes a lot of sense. But we found out the journey for improvement doesn't start with changing the process. It starts with changing the leader's mindset. And that's what I wish I knew sooner, is that that's the initial target. Because if you don't change the leader's mindset, if they're willing to accept the same level of quality that they had been accepting, then no matter what you do to a process, it's going to reset to that level. Because it is what the leaders accept really sets the level of which a company can perform to. And I thought John Maxwell said it so well in his 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. His first law is the law of the lid. And he said, basically, a company can't be any better than the quality of its leadership. A company cannot actually perform higher at a level than the leaders are willing to accept. So found that the first thing that we wind up doing is that the reason we have ordinary performance means people just get their products mostly to their brand requirements most of the time, instead of extraordinary performance, where leaders get their products and services to their requirements 100% of the time. It's the mindset of the leader. Every leader that is extraordinary, that's their standard. And just to tell you a story about that, Pal Barger, the founder of Pal's Sudden Service, he told me how he changed his standard from being basically, I ran a good business, to I ran an extraordinary business. He said he had an insight after he'd run his business for many years. If a customer comes in and orders, pays full price, gets exactly what they ordered, that's a fair transaction. That's the way business should be. But what about the customer that pays full price and doesn't get exactly what they ordered? or doesn't get it made exactly to our requirements, then we're basically cheating the customer. And I, as a brand owner, am not going to allow my company to cheat any customers. So I'm going to set the standard as the brand owner that says we're going to get every order 100% right, period. And he changed the standard for the whole business because owners can do that. And at first, pals, it's not like, oh, well, great, and then we'll get it right. But over the next few years, they figured out how to do that. So their accuracy is 10 times what their national competitors' accuracy is. And they do that while they're going 4 times faster. Car leaves a PAL store every 18 seconds.
So you're
It's
saying that
drive-through only.
you're saying they're
Yeah,
faster and more accurate? That's incredible.
yeah, isn't that amazing? They're going 400% faster and 1,000% more accurate. That's what happens when you start using operations excellence, and the leaders change the standard from saying, I'm okay for us doing as good as everybody else is doing, or we get it mostly right, to no, that's no longer, we're going to hit our standard every time, because actually systems are capable of doing that. And that's what we get to teach at McClaskey Excellence Institute in our Achieving World-Class Results class. And that's what I hope people start taking out of this podcast, is that we need to stop accepting the level that we are allowing with our company, even though it might be better than a lot of our competitors. And our only standard is that we deliver our brand requirements 100% of the time, our products and services, and that becomes the journey. And then once you have that mindset, then you find out ways to do it, and we can help people do that as well. So that's what I wish I'd learned earlier, because what we always start is with the mindset of the leader, is that if you're okay with your past performance, you're never going to get any better. But if you're saying, I'm not okay with my past performance, I want our standards to be at 100%, then we can work with people to become extraordinary in operations. And that's what I wish I knew earlier.
That's such a great thing. And you're so right. It's whatever the leader accepts. That's what it's going to be. You're never going to be stronger than the leadership. And, and I know, and that, but that's one of the key components of this class that we talk about for our operational excellence with the Achieving World-Class Results classes. Let's get people to just deliver what they promise. Let's get people, hey, if this is how you make the cheeseburger, that's how you're going to get the cheeseburger. But
yeah,
why is that important, you think?
Well, I think it's critically important, because the reason you came back is because you liked the last experience. And if you don't get the last experience, the next time you come, you're going to be disappointed and you're going to come less often. But if you can absolutely be so sure you're going to get that great performance, the brand standard product and service every time, that you would bet on it as a customer or you would bet on it as a manager, you'll come back as often as you're going to need that kind of service, because you're not having to play roulette. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. No, they're always good. They always hit their brand requirement. They're always friendly. And I'm willing to actually drive by a lot of ordinary businesses to go to a place that I'm assured will treat me right every time. In fact, PAL's customers say they're drive-through, quick service restaurant drive-through. Everybody's had those experiences. But what PAL's customers say is that we don't have to look in the bag because we know it's right. I don't know that other brands' customers are saying that about their brands. And that makes a huge difference in the top line. How about you, Billy? What's your biggest insights?
I mean, I tell you, that same experience I experience it all the time. And there's one particular time, and it wasn't just the fact that I didn't get what I wanted. I was actually embarrassed, because there was this restaurant, we'll call it Restaurant X. And
yeah.
Tell you what, I used to drive across town to get to this sandwich. It was called a bodega sandwich. It was the most amazing thing in the world. This is the type of sandwich. I'm a very talkative individual, but this would make me be quiet for 15 to 20 minutes. Like, I couldn't say a word. It was just, all I could think about was how flavorful this was. Oh, it was so good. In fact, I'm having a hard time talking now because I'm thinking about that sandwich. But I went there, I bet you 10 times in a row. And it was perfect 10 times. And I will talk up anything in the world. So I was telling everybody who would listen to me about this sandwich. And I tell you what, the first time I took somebody to get the sandwich, it wasn't good. And they looked at me like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? You run restaurants. You have a palate and you think this is good? It's like, it was, I promise you. But it wasn't just that I didn't get the product that I wanted. I talked it up to the people next to it. So there were so many things of negative, just not getting it right 100% of the time. It was my experience, their experience. And I tell you what, it took months for me to go back after that. Even though they were right 10.
Yes.
That one time, the fact that I was in front of somebody, it just ruined it. And that's why I've experienced why you try to get it right 100% of the time, because, it hurt me. In fact, I can tell you that
Oh,
was
yeah.
over 10 years ago, and that same individual still brings it up all the time. So,
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people don't recommend restaurants. It's
mhm,
because one out of every X number of times, 4 or 5 times, you recommend something and it turns out to be a bad experience because
mhm,
the restaurant didn't deliver their brand requirements. And so people just stop recommending because what you just said happens to you. And then friends feel like you betrayed them. You sent them on a fool's errand. How about a place where you could absolutely count on it? You'd bet $1,000, we call it the McClaskey $1,000 bet. You'd bet $1,000 your own money that the product and services will be 100% of the brand requirements the next time you go there. That's why we're so passionate about
mhm.
helping companies achieve operations excellence so they can do that for their customers. And I had mentioned yet, but PALS has 4 times the repeat business of their national competitors. Why? Because they get their products and services right every time.
Oh,
None
yeah.
of their competitors do that.
We hear this amazing stuff about pals that Dave's talking about, to where they operate at this super high level, getting all their processes right to 100%. And that's what extraordinary operations is. And that probably could be almost frustrating or mind blowing to some people when they look at their business. They're like, well, this is impossible. How do I go from where I am
Yeah.
to everything being perfect all the time? I tell you, I remember this is how I felt is when first time I left the class when I was still a student. I was like, I'm going to fix it all of it. We're going to fix it tomorrow. We're going to be perfect. And no, just no, you can't do that. Your business will explode. What we learned is you got to do one thing at a time. Pick one process and do it well, and then you do the next process and you do it perfectly. And that is how you do this. It takes time. You're not going to be perfect overnight. It's a journey to get to this level of excellence.
Yeah,
You don't just say
absolutely.
poof, right? It's about one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And it's one of the first things that we teach in our Achieving World-Class Results course is this idea. Well, David, tell them a little bit more about this, the class, and how it can help them.
The whole idea, our whole dedication is how many companies can we help go from ordinary to extraordinary operations where they get their products and services right 100% of the time? And so we actually working with companies for 20 years or more. How do we have a successful process to do it? And we took that process and we coded it up in a class that we call the Achieving World-Class Results. And that's a class McClaskey Excellence teaches. And so this is a systematic process. And we get 100% of the companies to actually get a process and get it working on it, focused on it, and get that 100% for the first process started. And so our Achieving World-Class Results class is a systematic way to get leaders to do this. And one of the things that we're talking about, we'll get the mission and get everybody focused on the mission. And then we'll pick one process and get it to 100%. And we'll actually do that during the class, because in this case, the class is 5 modules a week apart, but each week's only 4 hours. And in between, you actually apply it to your own company. I want to pause here and let everyone know that everything you're hearing now is taught in our Achieving World-Class Results class. We would love to have you and your team in the class so we can help you reduce errors and increase repeat business. The class will enable you to take your operations from ordinary to extraordinary. Sign up now at McClaskeyExcellence.com/AWCR. And Billy, as a leader of that company who actually took this and did it, and you're a master implementer, can you talk about the impact of getting a process to 100% and what that really does for a company's culture of excellence?
Oh my gosh, yes. And it's so much deeper than people actually think it is. And I'll tell you the story of one restaurant group that we did this with, that I was the director of operations for, is we decided, you know what, we want our table set up to be the same at all of our locations. It's going to be the same 3 hot sauces, and we want them in a row. In fact, one of them we made ourselves, the other 2 we bought. And I know that sounds so simple, putting 3 hot sauces in a row every single time. But what we learned is it had nothing to do with the hot sauces. That's what we dictated, but then we learned, wow, this is actually teaching product management, because are they ordering correctly to make sure that we have the right hot sauces so they can be set up? Are they holding their teams accountable to doing this? And what we learned is the managers weren't comfortable holding people accountable. So now just the fact that we said we're going to do this 100% of the time, that connected to, our ordering processes have to be spot on. And then our managers have to be able to hold people accountable, which then that led to, hey, let's teach you how to hold people accountable, how to have these conversations, how to not walk past things with that silent acceptance. And it started changing the culture. And that it took was that first process takes a while, but the second, third, fourth, it's a snowball, and it gets faster and faster because all the ancillary things that you train with this system of how we teach in the Achieving World-Class Results class is you teach this process that just grows so quickly because all the ancillary things of holding people accountable and the product knowledge and all these things that have to happen in order to get one process correct, it changed our culture. And I tell you what, we went just that one process, putting 3 hot sauces in a row, our managers went from good to great. I know I'm taking the name of a wonderful book there, but it was amazing.
True.
All the other things that happened because of this. And that was just one process. So you can imagine after we did 5 of these, our managers were experts about holding people accountable. And not only were they experts, this is the wild part, the team became experts at being held accountable. It was no longer emotional. It was just, this is what needs to be done. I didn't do it. I'm held accountable. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to be at 100%. And even cooler than that is then it turned into the teams holding each other accountable. It was wild to see. And all that was from one process of putting 3 hot sauces in a row. It sounds so simple, but I tell you, it's amazing when you learn what 100% is and how that really works through. I mean, it was so cool to see.
What you're hearing from Billy right now is one of the results of somebody attending the Achieving World Class Results class. We'll get a process. That's the kind of thing you'll get to experience and start during the class, not after the class, but as part of the class. And just think of what you just heard. Wouldn't you like to create that for your companies and your capability to do that?
Such a great way to do this class. And that's why this podcast is here, so we can really get people to understand this level of excellence and how this really works. And one thing I'm excited for is we're actually going to be bringing leaders into this podcast and just these operations expert. And I mean, David, who's one of your favorite operations experts? I don't know if we're going to have them in the podcast or not, but who's your favorite or one of your favorites?
Thank you for asking that question. One of mine would be Tom Crosby, the CEO of Powell Sudden Service. He has did such a fantastic job of designing and implementing an extraordinary system of operations excellence for Powell Sudden Service. And he's been gracious enough to be my mentor and to share the wonderful knowledge. We've had literally hundreds of hours worth of conversations, and it is just so fantastic. And the other one would be Horst Schulze, the founder and COO of the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company. And both times that they won the Baldrige Award, I was their Baldrige consultant, and I got to learn directly from Horst Schulze, who's just one of these just extraordinary leaders, and again, shares this with so many different leaders. So I bet you hundreds of people could talk about that Horst Schulze was their mentor. And one of the things that Horst has done to help even more people learn is he has a wonderful book called Excellence Wins. And the things you read in Excellence Wins is the things that companies that take our Achieving World Class Results class, it helps them to accomplish the very things that Horst is talking about. And because we're using the systems that they helped develop. How about you, Billy? Who would you pick?
I mean, after being on a phone call with Horst Schulze and you and getting to hear your all's conversations back and forth, that was one of the most magical experiences that I got to be a part of, and seeing what type of leader he was and how you all interacted. There's so many people that I love to listen to about leadership. It doesn't have to be the great people of the world. It can be just the people I'm next to or anybody who's a leader I love to listen to. But that one phone call was special because I mean, and I didn't know that. I haven't read that book yet that Horst wrote, so I'm going to have to get that. But I know he wrote one other thing. He wrote the foreword to your book that's coming up. Isn't that right?
Thank you. Yes. This fall, I'm going to have the book out. 100% customer delight. It's going to outline the key principles that we've learned. We would like to help 100,000 companies be extraordinary in their operations. And you can see the podcast, the book, the Achieving World Class Results class, the McClaskey Excellence Institute, it's consulting. And so the books will be available this fall. Very much looking forward. And Horst was very gracious as to write the foreword for it. And we're looking forward to sharing that with all of you as another way of helping you take that step towards extraordinary operations.
So we got a lot of things coming out. I mean, you got your book coming out this fall. This podcast, it's going to be coming out the first and third Monday of every month. So we have a lot of things coming out, as well as all of our upcoming Achieving World Class Results classes. And I mean, you can go to our website of www.McClaskeyExcellence.com to see all that. But if you want to reach out to us or ask questions, I mean, feel free to email us. I mean, my email, it's Billy, Billy, at McClaskeyExcellence.com. And I'll spell that for you because I know it's a lot of letters. It's MCCLASKEY excellence.com. And we look forward to people sending us emails just so we can learn and communicate. And David, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah. And any questions you have from this podcast, just email us, let us know. My email is David McClaskey at McClaskeyExcellence.com. So we would love to hear from you. And we're looking forward to sharing some of the great operations experts as you hear different podcasts the first and third Monday. And what I'd like to say is that, we're the operations experts, and we look forward to seeing you the next time.
See you soon. Operations Experts was created by McClaskey Excellence Institute. Hosts were David McClaskey, President of McClaskey Excellence Institute, and Billy Schaefer, Vice President of McClaskey Excellence Institute. The podcast was produced and edited by Kate Craig of Kate Craig Consulting. New episodes drop the first and third Monday of every month on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music. Find us online at McClaskeyExcellence.com and register for our Achieving World-Class Results course to enable your organization to deliver exactly what you promised every time using extraordinary operations.